I don't want to scare anyone, but I'm going to give it to you straight about Jason.
Hello, and welcome to the Warpath Crossover Podcast. My name's at J Don't Fade, coming to you live. Well, not really live. We're recording tonight, 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Coming to you a little bit later in the week this week. We had some things going on earlier this week. Well, I had some things going on earlier this week. I went to Toronto to catch a Cardinals game. Cardinals versus Blue Jays. Not a Blue Jays game because I hate the Blue Jays. If you know me, of course, I'm a big Orioles fan. I hate the Blue Jays, hate the Yankees. I don't know which one I hate more lately, if it's the Yankees or the Blue Jays. Probably a mixture of both. Probably more the Blue Jays lately because we are in a playoff race trying to get the wild card spot. I know there's three of them, but trying to get a wild card spot. Any loss by the Blue Jays, Mariners, or the Rays is good. We just took 3-1 from the Rays, but this isn't a baseball podcast, so I'm not going to talk baseball. I'll get into Sabres hockey. We're going to talk a little bit about E-Rod today. That is right, Evan Rodrigues. Also, the Prospects Challenge we'll cover a little bit as well. Not much going on. Obviously, it's the offseason. I know arbitration cases are starting, and I wanted to talk about arbitration. However, being that Sabres roster isn't really loaded with talent, at least talent that's not really locked down for a multitude of years. You got some young guys, of course, Tage and some other guys, but no real big arbitration cases to talk about for us right now. Hopefully, in the coming years, that changes. I mean, I don't know if I mean hopefully it changes. I mean, hopefully it changes in the sense that we have players that are going to be going to arbitration we'll be talking about, but hopefully we avoid arbitration, of course. That's the goal, of course, with any high talented player. Like I know the Flames are taking Kachuk to Flames are taking Kachuk to arbitration, and that's obviously something you'd like to avoid with one of your star players, but some that is usually a necessary evil. Two sides generally agree and get it worked out, but just something that's there. I know the Sabres, I can think of when I was younger, had some cases that players went to arbitration and then things didn't go well. And arbitration a lot of the time isn't good for player relationship with the team and the franchise, and usually ownership or even not ownership but management. Because essentially what you're doing is you're sitting in a room with an independent party, a third party. You've got the player on one side, and you've got the GM and management on the other side, and maybe at this day and age, analytical guys on one side as well. And you discuss what you think the player's worth is and why you think they're worth that much. And the management is fighting for a lower number, and the player's fighting for a higher number, and you're trying to tell him that he's not worth that number. A lot of the time that doesn't do well for a relationship. It's a lot like borrowing money from friends. Just don't do it, So we'll try and avoid it on any star players. Kachuk, a couple of other guys, not maybe as high as Kachuk, I would say, but there are other guys that are going to go to arbitration this year, and we'll see how that goes. Either way, though, want to jump into the E-Rod talk. E-Rod reunion. Now, I haven't seen any rumors on it, but I was reading an article today, and it was coming up from NHL.com, one of the good writers there, a lot of good writers there. I spoke with a couple of them, actually, one particular that I can think of a year or two back when the Kraken were coming to the league, but NHL.com article talking about the top 5 centermen that are left in free agency. E-Rod's name did come up. He was number 3 on the list, I believe. Had himself a hell of a year this year, especially with Malkin and Crosby out early in the year. I like watching Penguins because I'm not a Penguins fan by any means at all. Like, most of them, I really can't stand the Penguins, but they play fun hockey to watch, and they usually have a good crowd. I like watching games for the crowd, especially if you've got a lively crowd. It just makes it more exciting. It gives that playoff feel. And a lot of their games are like that. Pittsburgh, that's their big team right now, really, because the Pirates are dog shit, and the Steelers are going to be dog shit. So they've got the Penguins. No basketball team there. I don't know if basketball team would do well there. Basketball teams are really for like a certain kind of city. You've got to really have a good population to do well for basketball. Like LA does well for basketball. New York City does well for basketball. And I could be wrong. Maybe some smaller markets are good for basketball, but generally basketballs are really like a niche market. You've got to have a really big basketball fan base there. I'd love to have a basketball team in Buffalo. I just don't know if they could survive. And that's usually when basketball team is brought up, being discussed in Buffalo, that's usually the talk about. So obviously we had the Buffalo Braves, who then turned into the Los Angeles Clippers. Did not work out here, unfortunately. But jumping into Erod last year, 82 games, played all 82 games. That's big, right? And Erod's most games he played before that was 74. And then before that, it's 48. That's with us in 17-18. He requested the trade. And just to give a little back history on, if you're not sure who Erod is, Evan Rodrigues was a centerman, played college hockey with Jack Eichel. Taking a peek, he did request a trade. Not taking a peek, I knew that. He requested a trade. We were scratching him a lot. He just wasn't playing. So that year was 2019-20. He had played in 38 games, accumulated 9 points. He then was traded to Pittsburgh along with Connor Sherry, and that was the Dominic Cahoon trade. Dominic Cahoon is not here. He was here for 6 games, had 4 points. Sabres didn't bring him back. Couldn't tell you why. Sabre move. But he then went on to Pittsburgh that year. Didn't do like a bunch of things there. I mean, he had 7 games played after that point, and he had 1 goal. That was his only point. The next year, however, he did step it up a little bit. He had 35 games played in 2020, 2021. 7 goals, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. And then this year was the year he really stepped it up and showed like, hey, I can play. I just need the opportunity. With Malkin and Crosby out, 82 games played, not for all the games, but in the first, 30, first 40, 30 to 40%, 30 to 50% even of the season. He 82 games, 19 goals, 24 assists, 43 points. That's good numbers. And he was playing as a top 6 in a lot of the season, most of the season with Crosby and Malkin out different periods of time. Came in, this is kind of funny. He came in ranking 34th in the Selke Award. You probably never would have thought he even got any Selke votes, but he did. 34th in the Selke Award. So 82 points. Oh, excuse me. My ears popped there. 82 games, 82 games, 43 points, 19 goals, 24 assists. Apples, helpers. And rating +3. That's good. Those are solid numbers. On this team, that's like a top, it's not our top centerman, but it's probably like our second line centerman, top 6 player. He's a guy that can play on the wing, I believe. I'd love to see him at him, and he's not going to cost a bunch of. Not that we don't have the money to spend. I don't even like bringing up that it's not going to cost a bunch because it shouldn't matter what it costs to us. We have tons of money. We're trying to meet the cap floor the last few years. It doesn't matter. So like $3.5 to $4 million a year. They're saying he wants like a 3 to 4 year deal. Go ahead, give it to him. All right, Erod. Here's 3 years. If you don't want to give him the long-term deal because you got young guys coming up, he is a young guy that can be a piece of your team. He's not an old guy. He's 28. I mean, he's got probably 3, 4, 5 years left of his hockey prime, and then you still got a couple of years of probably bottom 6 play with that veteran leadership that he'll have at that point. Not that he doesn't have it now. I mean, it's his. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8th year. He's got 8 years in the league. This will be his 9th year. So he's a vet. I think he's a guy that could really help. And coming back, I mean, you've got new ownership now. You've got not new ownership. I'm sorry. I keep confusing ownership with management. You've got new management now. There's no reason that you couldn't bring a guy like that back. Say you don't want to give him the years, though. You want to give him 2 years. Okay. We'll give you $7 million for 2 years, 3.5 a year. Or you know what? If that really doesn't work, we want to have you back. We want to see if it works. Here's a 2-year deal, $8 million total. Or you know what? We really just want to try out this year and see if you got it. We've got the money. 1 year, $5 million. I bet you Erod takes that in a second because he knows he's going to get ice time here. He's probably going to get top 6 minutes, especially if he's willing to play on the wing. Not that that's up to him, of course. If he signs, he goes where the coach tells him to go. But if he's willing to play on the wing, he's open to the idea. He likes the idea. Accepts the challenge, so to say. He's going to get playing time. He's probably going to get close to 43, if not more points, and he's going to give himself a better shot at the contract next year. And if not, the relationship will probably be repaired at that point with him in this organization, and we can look at maybe extending him. I like the idea of at least trying him out. Give him a year, give him 2. What do we have to lose? Nothing. People say, "Oh, we want to let the young guys play." Well, I don't know if they're going to do that. There's not enough young guys to be like, we're not going to sign any free agents because we want to let the young guys play and give them opportunity. You're not taking opportunity away by making a couple of veteran signings. You're just not, and you're not going to sell me that bullshit. That's not the truth. Either way, that's my soapbox on Erod. Just want to talk about it. I thought it was interesting. I like Erod. Always really did. Obviously, there was that trying to connect with him and Jack and all with the same team in college, and is exciting. That's done now. But either way, I like the idea of bringing them back. Last thing I want to talk about, like I said, we're gonna have some short episodes coming up. Once the season comes up, we'll be having longer episodes, 45 minutes to an hour. we will have a guest every single week. I'm already in communication with a couple of really cool guests to get on here, people that you guys might know, other fan bases, their podcast leaders, really big names in the podcast game for their teams, their respective teams. And we're going to kind of do some crossovers. It's funny, Warpath Crossover Podcast. We're going to try and do a lot of crossovers with other teams, especially teams coming up, rival teams, rebuilding teams especially. I do want to do a segment, and there's a segment that I listen to on a podcast that I love, which is my Orioles podcast, and that's Locked On Orioles. Shout out to Connor Newcomb, who does a great job with that. I love that show. Daily listener. And he did a segment that was comparing the rebuilds, and he would speak with teams like Detroit, and Pittsburgh, and I don't know if he spoke with the Cubs, but the Cubs would be one of those teams. Arizona, he spoke with. So Arizona, Pittsburgh, Detroit, I remember vividly. Just some teams that he would name that he'd compare their rebuilds, and I want to do that with some of the younger teams too. I want to do that like Detroit, like Detroit's finishing up the rebuild, so to say, right? So Detroit, maybe Columbus. Other teams, LA. I want to get someone from LA, a Kings fan on here, just to talk about the rebuilds and what they think it looks like, and for their team and for our team, and what they think of our team, and like what we think of their rebuild, and what I think of their rebuild, anyways, right? Because I'm here, but and just kind of go back and forth and kind of give people, even the listeners that listen to me now, I know we're getting some good views. I'd love to double those, triple them, quadruple them, get this information out to everybody, get this content out to everybody, and kind of give you guys what you love. So if you have anything put in the comments, anything you want to hear me talk about, anything you want me to cover, any guests you might want me to reach out to, or somebody I might know already at this point that I can bring on, anything you guys want to hear, I want to talk about that. And just kind of expand, guys, get some really good Sabres podcasts out there. I know that Sabres content out there. I know there's not a lot of Sabres content right now, just in the content world. I think that's going to start picking up with them doing better naturally, regardless of not doing anything in free agency, but with the young talent we've got. So we're going to jump into something about young talent. That's the Prospects Challenge, something that I love every year. I went last year to a couple of games. I believe they were playing the Bruins, and I think it might have been the Devils. I can't remember. I know it was definitely the Bruins we played in one of the games. This year, the participants are the Buffalo Sabres, the Boston Bruins, Montreal Canadiens, New Jersey Devil, Ottawa Senators, and Pittsburgh Penguins. And of course, all of the games will take place September 15th to the 19th, right before the preseason starts at the LACom Harbor Center, down at the Harbor Center there, right across the street, right across the hall, technically, because there's a bridge walkway from the KeyBank Arena, where the Sabres play out their home games, of course. So that's exciting. Schedule is as follows. Thursday, September 15th, Buffalo opens up against Montreal at 7 p.m. Then Friday, September 16th, we got two games. We got Boston versus Ottawa at 3:30, Montreal versus New Jersey at 7. And then Saturday, we've got, and this is probably one of the ones I'll go to on a Saturday, because it's later at night, Pittsburgh versus Boston at 3:30, Buffalo versus New Jersey at 7 p.m. Sunday, September 18th, we've got Ottawa versus Montreal. That's the only game that day, and that's at 12 p.m. That'll be another good game to try and catch some young talent there. It's another team we'll speak with, too, as far as comparing the rebuilds. We're going to try and get a Montreal Canadiens podcast around here as well. Very big about their hockey over there. Monday, September 19th, just to wrap it all up, we got New Jersey versus Boston at 10 a.m. We got Buffalo versus Ottawa at 1:30 p.m. That's going to be a tough game to get to. It's Monday on a work day. It's also, if I'm not correct, let me double check this. I got to make sure I didn't somehow miss this. September 19th. Yep, that's also the day of the Bills home opener, and I'll be there. So I definitely won't be at the Sabres game earlier that day. I'll probably be trying to hustle and bustle to finish up work so I can get tailgating. I do have Bill season tickets, so I'm very excited about that, as I mentioned on the last podcast. But the Prospects Challenge is a good time just to see a lot of young players, and some of them will end up making the roster. Like, so here's a couple names, right? And there's a great article I read from NHL.com from Chris Reindick, just talking about the Prospects Challenge and some of the great players that have played in it. So here are some of the current Sabres that have participated in it, right? So you got Rasmus Dahlin, Casey Middlestad, Tage, the Rocket Thompson, Victor Olofsson, Henry, Yoki, don't call me Yoki Haru, Jacob Bryson, and Rasmus Asplund. So the roster is going to get announced later on. Just, information on the tickets. I do want to get a lot of people out there. It's exciting. It's good for the kids to get that atmosphere too. By the kids, I mean the young talent of the team. Feel that atmosphere of the NHL. Feel welcome to Buffalo and give them a good welcome to Buffalo. Know they're playing for something like those guys did last year. Tickets are going on sale early August, so probably a week or two out. $10 a piece for each game. Not a bad deal. Catch a game or two. Bring the kids out. Bring the family out. It's cheap. I believe they have food there. I think you bring your own drinks, though. Shit, yeah, you do. You bring your own beer, which I don't know if that's a great idea, but you do bring your own beer. I remember that last year now. Me and my dad were like frivolously downtown looking for beers to bring in or something because we figured it out at the last second. But it's exciting stuff. Definitely a good time to catch games. The games are very competitive because these are young kids that are fighting for roster spots, guys. So, yeah, good stuff. We're going to start going to live shows also. I just want to kind of take a couple minutes before we wrap up here. Like I said, they're shorter episodes because there's not much going on in Saberland right now. Getting geared for the Prospects Challenge. At that point, I'll start recapping the Prospects Challenge. So as we start getting stuff rolling in, which we will start seeing more, obviously we had the rookie mini camps and the rookie camps going on and whatnot. But as we get going here, I'll start doing more coverage and you'll see the episodes get longer as we have more content and just more things to really cover that are going on. But yeah, right now, 15 to 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. As things pick up, though, Prospects Challenge, you'll start seeing us pick up, and our goal is to be at an hour while having our guest on for a good portion of the shows live in season. I'll be at a lot of games as well, so maybe I'll even go live on site, post a couple videos to the YouTube channel. Give us a follow here, of course, Mafia Sports Report. So you're going to catch all my content and Tommy's content as well. Yeah, that's what we got for tonight, though, guys. So go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and take a look at the Sabres' upcoming schedule? Pick a couple games out to go to. I'm going to go to a bunch of games. Like I said, I'll get live on site at some of the games if I can. A lot of the games I go to don't seem to work out though, win-wise and the win column. But I'm excited about this year, regardless of the non-activity and just dead white noise in free agency. But till then, guys, go Sabres. Have yourself a good night. Drink a beer for me.
Stars,